Welcome to this explainer. If you've ever looked at a massive retail business and thought, how in the world do they keep track of all that stuff? Well, you are definitely in the right place today. We're going to completely unpack the intricate process behind managing consignment inventory. And to do this, we're zooming in on a real-world, highly successful case study, an online business called Urban Thick. We'll track their operations literally from the moment an item leaves a closet all the way to when it hits a new buyer's front door and see exactly how they keep this massive engine running smoothly.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap for today. We'll start by looking at the modern consignment model, then we'll move into finding the right niche, sourcing and processing inventory, diverse inventory offerings, and finally, multi-platform sales channels.
So Section 1, the modern consignment model.
Modern consignment is a whole lot more than just reselling old clothes. It's a highly curated, deeply organized, operational machine. Just look at this foundational ethos straight from their platform. Welcome to Urban Thick, where quality always comes before labels. Now, that isn't just some catchy marketing slogan. It's actually a strict inventory management protocol. By prioritizing craftsmanship, individuality, and timeless style over just a fancy brand name, they've built this incredibly strict filter for what actually makes it into their warehouse. Every single item has to pass a quality check. So their inventory isn't just huge, it's meticulously vetted.
Urban Thick actually makes content specifically about this distinction, with videos titled things like Thrift First Consignment Stores and our clothing product process. And honestly, for an advanced inventory operation, this distinction is absolutely crucial. A consignment store is a partnership, right? They are actively choosing pieces from clients to sell on their behalf. The inventory is intentionally acquired. That brings a totally different level of operational control and responsibility to the table. You are literally managing someone else's physical assets right up until the point of the final sale.
Moving right along to Section 2, finding the right niche.
Now, what's really interesting about this is how Urban Thick structures their intake funnels. They aren't just taking any generic clothing that comes their way. They process inventory through very specific intentional channels. You can see their main categories here: plus-size fashion, big and tall clothing, beauty, lifestyle and home decor, and accessories. This setup is brilliant from a back-end perspective. Why? Because it allows them to organize their warehouse, their photography, and their digital storefront with absolute precision. It's like a perfectly organized puzzle.
The real genius here is that they are specifically targeting marginalized fashion niches. Finding high-quality, stylish clothing in big and tall or plus size can be incredibly frustrating for consumers shopping at traditional retail stores. By dedicating their inventory to solving this exact problem, Urban Thick practically guarantees a high-demand customer base. And if you're managing inventory, this is the golden rule. When your stock solves a direct consumer frustration, it doesn't just sit there gathering dust. It moves fast.
Let's get into Section 3, sourcing and processing inventory.
Following the actual chronological journey of a garment, it all kicks off by incentivizing supply. It's a simple call to action for the consignor: clean closets and get paid. From there, the physical inventory box is received and processed, completely transforming a raw piece of clothing into a digital asset that's ready to be sold online. We can actually see this documented in their own operations, with videos literally titled, "Processing a New Consignment Client Big and Tall Men Inventory Box." This is the make-or-break moment, where raw supply actually enters the facility and gets systematically logged.
But here's the thing, this pipeline requires constant feeding. Inventory sourcing isn't just a one-and-done deal. It's an active daily hustle. For instance, Urban Thick actively puts out alerts, like a recent video short, specifically announcing that they have current openings seeking new consigners for men's big and tall clothing. They're constantly keeping an eye on their stock levels and proactively reaching out to the market to fill any gaps in their specialized inventory. They have to keep that pipeline flowing.
Which brings us to Section 4, diverse inventory offerings.
Just look at this hidden gems mix. This is wild. In the exact same warehouse, they're managing a Nikon digital camera right next to a queen feather bed, which is right down the aisle from a vintage wooden sewing basket. Seriously, imagine the back-end logistics required to securely store, prep, and ship a delicate, clear-cut pattern glass picture set versus, say, a simple pair of men's jeans. Their inventory management has to be incredibly agile to handle the unique data, sizing, and shipping requirements of such vastly different physical goods.
And check this out, $10. That is the remarkably accessible entry price for items like a brand new open-box Cuisinart coffee grinder they had listed. Part of their core messaging is selling quality items at ridiculously low prices. By keeping their prices this competitive, they guarantee a high turnover rate. And in this business, fast inventory velocity means lower storage costs and much happier consigners because they get paid faster. It's absolutely a win-win.
All right, the final piece of the puzzle.
Section 5. Multi-platform sales channels.
You see, you don't just throw items on one single website and cross your fingers. That's not how you scale. And this brilliantly illustrates how Urban Thick maximizes their sales velocity. They disperse their carefully processed inventory across multiple digital ecosystems. Sure, they have their own direct Urban Thick website, complete with shopping carts, but they also leverage the massive existing user bases of the Poshmark ecosystem, the eBay marketplace, and the Mercari network. Managing your inventory across 4 different platforms means you are literally multiplying your chances of a sale. Items simply don't sit stagnant.
But wait, managing inventory across all these channels isn't just about hitting delete on a listing once an item finally sells. It is fundamentally about relationship management. Urban Thick proudly displays a Love from Our Buyer section, which pulls in great feedback from Mercari, eBay, and Poshmark. When a buyer has an amazing experience getting a quality item that was accurately described and shipped super fast, they come back for sure. This builds trust, which really sustains the entire life cycle of the business. Today's satisfied buyer is tomorrow's repeat customer, and potentially next week's brand new consigner.
We've just seen how a single shirt or even a vintage sewing basket transitions from being just clutter in someone's house to becoming curated, highly managed, profitable inventory. It's an entire ecosystem built on solving real problems, demanding quality, and moving items swiftly across the digital landscape. So I want to leave you with this thought as we wrap up today's explainer. Knowing exactly how efficiently this system works to turn forgotten items into cash, what untapped value is sitting in your own closet right now? Thanks so much for joining me, and I hope this gave you a totally new perspective on the mechanics of modern consignment.